All right. Hello, everybody. We are here today for the networking workshop with First to Go, who is hosting this event with Ashley San Miguel. And also, we are here with the T. Rowe Price Career Innovation Center today. I'm a career coach. My name is Catherine Barrios.
My name is Ashlyn Jones. I'm a peer career advisor here.
So, well, thank you for joining us today. Let's go ahead and get started.
So at the Career Center, we offer a variety of services for students. That includes resume or cover letter reviews, mock interviews, applying for internships or jobs, applying to graduate school, career exploration, and design your life strategies. So we help with anything career related. You can contact us at careers@uccs.edu or visit our website to book an appointment or find any self-help resources as well. So networking is defined as, or career conversation is defined as the process of connecting with individuals in various industries to exchange information, resources, support, and opportunities. So networking is very important for job opportunities, professional development, personal growth, business, and access to resources.
Networking is a really great strategy to use to find opportunities and make connections in your field, especially if you're exploring. It's a really great way to learn more about your field.
So a lot of people tend to get overwhelmed when networking. They're not really sure where to start exactly. So with that, it's important to approach a variety of tasks to get started. So first and foremost, it's important to set some goals, and then it's important to establish a networking plan. And engaging in networking etiquette is also largely important, whether that be online or in person for your networking events. So there are many areas where networking can take place. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and dive into specifics. So for one, career goals are in place to help shape success. So networking requires a sense of direction, essentially. So it's important to have these goals previously established. So there's also a variety of benefits to them, including that you can identify and prioritize the right connections to help you achieve those career goals. And networking also becomes more purposeful and targeted as well. And you may better communicate your needs and intentions with your networking contacts.
Yeah, it's definitely important to take your time to plan ahead and really figure out how you want to approach networking so that you can save time, work smarter, not harder.
So when setting goals, it's important to use the SMART goal setting framework. So essentially what that means is that it's specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. So making sure that your goal is clear and specific, has a sense of direction, measurable, just make sure that you have those short-term and long-term goals and that they're realistic. Attainable, so again, making sure that they're realistic and within your skill set and within your networking group. And then verifying your goals are relevant. So if they're relevant for your career goals, if it would even be the right path for you. And then also setting up a time-based plan. So whether that be short-term or long-term within the next 5 years or even within the next. So when establishing a network plan, there's a variety of steps that goes into it. So we have all of those highlighted right here. They're a lot less overwhelming than they seem. So the first one is to set clear networking goals, as we previously discussed, using that SMART framework. Second is to identify your target audience, which we'll get into a little bit more later on. Then creating a list of contacts, organizing that list of contacts to make sure that you know who works for what organization, how they can help you set your career goals, determining how to reach out. So whether that be online, giving them your resume, asking for an informational interview, which we'll discuss in more detail later on. And then setting specific objectives. So again, setting those goals after you've established a networking team. And then creating an action plan. So how do you plan to utilize this networking group to help you with your career goals? Or how do you plan to establish a networking group as well? And allocating your time and resources as well is very important in that step. Also, it's important to track your progress and recognize where you've come, how far you've gone, what more you have to do to get where you need to get for your career goals. And then establishing a follow-up strategy. So it's very important to follow up with the individuals that you network with. They have their own network as well, so it's important that you continuously make sure that they know who you are. And it's important to adapt and improve. So if any strategies just don't work for you, it's important to build upon those and make sure that they work in the future as well. And then measuring your results is also very important.
I would definitely screenshot this, a nice step-by-step guide, because it is a really great way to stay organized when you're networking, especially when you're starting out for the first time.
So to identify and grow your network, it's important to understand who is in your current network. So for one, if you're at college, you already have professors in your current network, as well as school clubs, organizations, any internship supervisors that you've worked with while you were in college, and then coworkers and supervisors as well are in your network. It's important to leverage this network as well. So reaching out to those in your current network to gain access to new networking and job opportunities that can help connect you with alternative individuals in different fields or in the same field. And then it's important to grow your network as well. So attending career fairs, online networking, in-person events, conducting informational interviews. There's a variety of ways that you can network, but it's important to continue to grow it throughout your career.
Definitely, I would say for a lot of these, you already have a network with your classmates. As Ashley mentioned, you already have a network with your faculty. So you'll want to start connecting with them early on, maybe through office hours with faculty, and then with students, just connecting in general, but also through LinkedIn. It's a great way to start adding people as you take classes with them. And a lot of times you might not connect at the beginning a lot, but then later on, it might be handy to start connecting with them more.
So when you approach networking, it can be done either in person, online, at events, through informational interviewing, any type of thing. So for one, LinkedIn is a very helpful platform for networking online. Very many employers are on there, 50 million plus. It's a professional networking platform that's ideal for conducting informational interviews, finding job postings, starting other connections and the like. Also, UCCS alumni, you can find those on there for your student account. Informational interviewing is another way to network. So this is a way that you can gain career advice in certain industries and just to see how someone obtained their career, what direction they're going, and current career insights as well. So this results in opportunities 1 out of 12 times compared to 1 out of 200 when people post with their resumes alone. So informational interviewing is largely important and it really helps build a name for yourself and help build upon your personal brand. Career fairs are another way to network. So we host them a lot here at the Career Center. We have them on campus all the time. There's so many employers that you can network with. You can bring your resume, provide an elevator pitch, and find those connections that way. So 70% find opportunities through contact at these fairs. So largely helpful for finding employment. And then alumni, leveraging alumni is useful for gaining information on career development. So we've got 50,000 UCCS alumni on LinkedIn. So quite a few people to network with. And they have a feature where you can tell who used to go to UCCS, so you'll know exactly who to network with.
Yeah, and I would say, if you want to go ahead and get started, or you don't know where to start, feel free to come see us at the Career Center. We're happy to kind of build a plan for you about networking and how you can get started.
So creating a profile on LinkedIn, there's a variety of strategies that go into it, but for the basics, make sure that you have an email address that you frequently check. So it might not be the best idea to use your student email since those do expire after you graduate. So make sure you have a personal email that is appropriate and make sure you have a phone number and state that you're seeking employment too, so that employers can reach you better that way and they know that you're currently seeking a job. Job experience, make sure that's in reverse chronological order, utilize those keywords. This is important for a resume. You could also put all of your resume information on your profile as well. So for skills, at least 5 of those, up to 50 total. So list them in order of proficiency and expertise. And then lastly, there's 2 more things. So you're going to need a headline. So this is the first impression of you. Say as much as you want. Keep it concise though, make sure that you're getting to the point and highlighting your skills and why it's important for you to work at certain companies and why you're a good candidate. And then you have your education section as well, which include all of your schools here. This is where you'll be able to connect with and leverage those alumni. And lastly, there's some additional information you can include on your profile if you feel like it needs to be built upon even more. So there's volunteerism. So if you don't have a lot of experience yet, this is a really good thing to lean into. And then projects, so research, presentations, assignments, anything important you've done at school or within a career you've had already. And then honors and awards, so scholarships, grants, anything that you've earned through merit or anything.
Yeah, and if you need help building your LinkedIn, that's a service we offer at the Career Center. So we're happy to meet with you and help you get started on LinkedIn as well.
So on LinkedIn, there is an alumni tool. So you can search for the page on UCCS, and then here, as you can see on the right side of the page, there's an alumni tab. So you can use this search function to find them by major, reveal their profile, and reach out with connecting through that informational interviewing, which we'll get into a little bit later, but that's the best way to initiate those conversations with them.
Yeah, it's a really great tool. I feel like it's underutilized a little bit, but it's definitely a great way to connect with people that you already have that UCCS connection with. So it kind of helps break the ice a little bit.
So LinkedIn Learning is another helpful resource for students. So LinkedIn Learning is available to all CU employees and students at no additional cost. And these learning paths can help guide your development with the aim of mastering skills that align with any of your career goals. So if you sign into LinkedIn Learning, you can log in with your student portal and then click on training, and in the upper right, click on navigation and then click on LinkedIn Learning. So feel free to screenshot this for future reference if you need any help finding LinkedIn Learning, but this is a very helpful resource and I would highly recommend checking it out.
Yeah, LinkedIn is a wonderful platform. There's a lot of great resources on it. So I definitely would play around with it and just see what are some different ways that you can use it to bump up your resume, for example.
So now informational interviewing, which we've been talking about this whole time, but so it's a powerful networking tool where you can learn about specific careers or industries and then build rapport as well for that networking process. So the goal is centered on gaining advice and insights from individuals working in these fields, but connecting with these individuals helps expand your personal network and give you more access to those opportunities. So not only are you gaining some additional career advice, but you're also building a network for yourself. So it really helps kill two birds with one stone. It's a very helpful way to approach networking.
Yeah, and you can do informational interviews in person or virtually. I've had students do virtual informational interviews with people in Japan, for example, or different places around the country. So it's a really great way to access new opportunities that aren't as easily accessible in person.
So we have a step-by-step here on informational interviewing since it can seem like an overwhelming task at first. So to break it down, it's important to identify the right people. So whoever's in your current network, if you can leverage that and build upon that network and connect with new individuals, reaching out, of course, preparing your questions, conducting the interview, and following up, which will break these each down for detail. So for identifying the right people, make sure you target your specific audiences. So which individuals will be able to help you achieve those career goals. So searching for professionals that work in companies, careers, and industries that you're interested in. And potentially you can leverage these companies and find alternate careers that might be of more interest to you through these informational interviews. So also focusing on commonalities. This is a great way to build rapport. So leveraging alumni as well. So anything that you have in common with these individuals, definitely lean into that a little bit to build a little bit rapport that way.
And something to note is that it's not guaranteed that you might have a response from everyone you reach out to. Some of them it might be about timing and just not the right time, but it's always good to be professional and just try to see if they're willing to connect with you at first.
So for reaching out, it's important to send a professional request. So be clear and concise with this request. So here you're going to provide an elevator pitch, which we'll explain in more detail later on. So you're going to state who you are, why you're reaching out, what you're hoping to learn in this informational interview. So you can also utilize LinkedIn or emailing for setting these up. So these are effective tools for that online networking. So you can find these employers and reach out to them that way with your elevator pitch. So for preparing your questions, make sure that you understand the individual's background and the company that they worked for beforehand. So you're not asking questions that kind of show that you haven't really done the research prior to the informational interview. So develop open-ended questions. So aim for around 4 to 5. Make sure that you're not wasting anyone's time. Keep it within about 10 to 15 minutes because they do have a lot on their plate as well as career professionals. So for example, with these questions, can you explain your career path and how you began this field? What does a typical day of work look like for you? What advice would you offer to someone entering this field? And are there any other individuals in your field that you could connect me with? So this fourth question is very important. I would highly recommend you always ask this question in an informational interview. This will build up your network and you'll be able to connect with other people that way. So for the actual interview process, so maintain respect and actively listen to their responses. So when you actively listen to their responses, first off, it shows interest in what they have to say. This way you can ask any potential follow-up questions you might have to what they've already said. So express gratitude at the end of the interview as well. So make sure that they know that you're grateful for the experience and that you're going to listen to their career advice or that you're going to reach out to individuals that you spoke about. And then build rapport. So begin the interview with a polite greeting, some light conversation, again, building on those commonalities that we previously talked about, and focusing on their learning experiences rather than asking for favors. So learning about their career journey rather than asking about open job positions. It's important to do that first for the informational interviewing, just to build that rapport and make sure that you have all the qualifications for the job. So always follow up after the informational interview, just in case they forget, in case anything came up. This way you can also express even more gratitude and highlight specific occurrences that stood out to you. This demonstrates that you were actively listening, and this way you can also show that certain things were important to you. You can demonstrate your values this way for the people that you network with. Keep in touch as well. So a lot of people forget that this is a really important step. You definitely have to maintain your network. So be sure to maintain these and periodically contact them, whether that be to ask for more career insight or current industry trends or anything like that.
Yeah, I would say informational interviews are just a really great way to, like I said, get to know more about your field, get to know more about the professionals and their experiences, and also to learn pros and cons to see what you like and don't like about the field.
So for career fair networking, this is the in-person side of networking. We have these on campus all the time. So it might be helpful to screenshot these steps or just to keep them in mind. So for the first one, it's important to utilize a strategic approach when networking, and engaging with the recruiters is the second step. Make sure you engage in active listening, exchange your resume, build a connection, collect that information, and follow up. And also, if you are rejected from these networking experiences, make sure you handle it with grace, looking into all of them.
And if you want to know about any career networking opportunities, definitely Handshake and Mountain Lion Connect are great places to find out about what are upcoming events.
So for this strategic approach, make sure you map out your route. So at some career fairs, they might have a map of where the booths are located. So make sure you know where they're located. Maybe you can make a list of who you'd like to visit first if you're on a time crunch. So prioritize your time again. So focus on spending quality time at all of the booths that would fit your career goals the greatest. So engaging with recruiters is the second step. So approach them with a confident handshake, maintain eye contact, present your elevator pitch, ask thoughtful questions about their career path, their mission, their vision, anything like that related to their company. And then clearly communicate all of your skills and experiences and why you would be a good candidate for any jobs that they might be hiring for. This helps them remember who you are later on. Sure.
And a really smart tip for when you're networking in person is start with the person that you're least intimidated with, and then go with the one that you're most intimidated with. Helps to have a little bit of practice or warm up before you get started.
So for active listening, listening actively helps the recruiter know that you're paying attention to what they're saying. And again, you can follow up with all of the questions that you might have to their answers. So you might need to jot down some notes to refer to later in this process. So feel free to bring a notepad and a pen. Actually, do bring a notepad and a pen. There's going to be some information that you're going to need to write down in that process, and they might not have a business card that you could grab from them to have their information later. So bring a notepad. And then also resume exchange. So bring your resume, make sure you print a bunch with you, make sure they look nice. You can come here to get it reviewed before the event, and make sure to give your eye contact to them when you're handing them your resume and be professional about the exchange. And you can even discuss key points on there and use it as a conversation starter if you kind of aren't really sure what you want to talk about, or you don't really know what your elevator pitch looks like quite yet. This you can start conversations with 1000%. So building a connection, so looking for those commonalities as we mentioned, and also conveying your excitement about being at the event and being able to speak with those employers and ask any questions you might have. Be sure to show that excitement and that enthusiasm and be friendly throughout the event. And collect information, so whether you need to jot down notes, grab a business card, write down a contact in your phone, make sure you remember to collect that information after you speak with each employer. So follow up after the event, especially if you're mentioning any details that make you stand out throughout. It's important to follow up so that they remember exactly who you were during the event. So they were speaking to a lot of different people, so this is a helpful way to help them remember you. So follow up, be polite, highlight information or answers that they provided to you during that networking event. So again, this demonstrates active listening and that you're very interested in any positions they might offer. And then with handling rejection successfully, so remain polite and respectful and express understanding that they're currently not hiring for positions, that you're not a good fit for their company. There's nothing wrong with that. You'll be a better fit somewhere else and your skills will be appreciated elsewhere. And in these cases, it's important to say something like, I understand if now is not the best time for this conversation. Thank you for your time. Feel free to reach out if you ever change your mind. So this last sentence is very important. They might change their mind because, again, people come and go within any company. So it's important to make sure that they know that you're available for those future career conversations in case they're open. So when you're at these networking events, make sure you maximize your time. So set these goals, again, utilizing that SMART framework that we previously discussed. Research the attendees, so make sure you know who will be in attendance there, if those companies would be worth networking with, and if they'd be able to help you reach your career goals. And then make sure you dress appropriately. So we have Clyde's Closet here. If you don't have any formal or business professional clothing yet, we have all of that here, gently used and worn, blazers, business pants, belts, dresses, skirts, sweaters, all kinds of things. So make sure you dress professionally. There's no excuse not to with this resource.
Perfect. And Clyde's Closet is located here at the Career Center. So you're able to come every semester and see what we have in store.
So preparing an elevator pitch, make sure to keep it brief, but highlight all of the skills that you have that would be important for the position. So express your passion and interests as well, and take notes. So if they say anything that might be important to note later, or if there's any career advice that you'd like to hang on to in the future, make sure you write that down. And you can also write down information that you can follow up with. So after the process, make sure you follow up, send a thank you email, and be considerate with that. And mention any individuals you were referred to as well during this process, and make sure that you get their name and address them with their name as well. That shows professionality and active listening.
Definitely.
So practices to make a lasting impression. So prepare for the event with researching. So craft this elevator pitch through your research and bring your resumes or any business cards as well. If you have a business card, that looks great. Bring that. Remain professional, but be authentic and come across as sincere and friendly. So there's no reason to be robotic and super uptight. It's okay to be friendly, but again, be professional as well. And use people's names in conversations. So demonstrates active listening and respect again, which is really important. And this way you can show that you've been able to listen as well. So follow up with these new connections at the end of the event, as we mentioned, and use their name in the email and highlight any important information.
I will say most students don't follow these tips because they haven't had an opportunity to do this before. This might be the first time. So employers are really understanding that your students are kind of learning about the process. But if you are able to follow these tips, it can really help you stand out and show that you're prepared. when you're connecting with employers. So we definitely encourage you to practice, connect with us. We can help give you these tips and guides to make sure that those companies you really want to work with will remember you.
So remembering people's names, this might be a hard thing for some people. It's very hard for me, at least. So remembering names can be difficult in a networking setting, especially when you're meeting multiple people at a time. So it's important to utilize these strategies for remembering these names. So repeat the name. So ask them to repeat their name for you if you didn't hear it the first time, or just ask just to get some repetition. Utilize their name throughout the conversation. So just continuously drop it. This will help you remember it. And then collect business cards, remain organized, take your notes. And if the employer does not have any business cards, ask them how to spell their name. So this is an opportunity for them to repeat their name an additional time. If you're too embarrassed to ask, just ask them to spell it. And again, take notes.
Yeah, it's very easy, especially in the career fair setting, to meet a lot of people and learn a lot of names all at once. So definitely bringing that notepad can help you like write a note of like, oh, I met this person, they were wearing a blue shirt, you know? This whatever works to help you remember who you are speaking with.
So representing your personal brand is a step that a lot of students kind of forget within the networking process. So this will really help you stand out if you feel like you don't really have a lot of attributes or skills yet that make you an applicable candidate for a job. But either way, make sure you do this step. So personal brand is who you are, it's your values, how your values translate to your career goals and your personality, your strengths. It's pretty much just who you are as a person and in the career context as well. So representing your brand. So connect with individuals during in-person networking events and on LinkedIn, and make sure you update your resume, your portfolio, your LinkedIn, all of these accounts continuously with all of your new experience, and just make sure it's relevant for each job that you apply for. And build and maintain an online presence. So remain active on LinkedIn, make sure your profile is up to date, and build a strong profile. And then here you can connect with those peers and those professionals and alumni.
Yeah, definitely. And we have a lot of great resources at the Career Center, such as like career assessments to help you evaluate what your strengths are, what your interests are, really understand yourself really well so you can talk about yourself and your goals to an employer. And that really helps make it a really strong connection with an employer because they'll understand what your goal is and how you can fit within their organization.
So make some meaningful conversations when you're at a networking event. So make sure you ask open-ended and thoughtful questions. So try to refrain from asking those yes or no questions. It kind of limits where the conversation can go and it limits what advice you can gain. It's okay to ask them, but genuinely, you're going to want to make sure that you ask those open-ended questions as well. And then listen actively again. So leverage certain responses to craft follow-up questions. And it's important to pay attention to remember these conversations for follow-up emails. And again, that career advice can benefit you. So just make sure you're listening and remembering. And then this elevator pitch. So this is that brief introduction that'll help you begin these conversations. So you'll provide information on your skills, your candidacies for certain positions, and always be sure to have one in networking events. So if you're a little bit lost on what exactly you'd like to say in this, you can just introduce yourself, your name, what your major is, what you're studying, what your skills are, how you're hoping to apply those skills, and that you're happy to be talking to this employer. And then you can lead into your questions or give them the opportunity to respond to your elevator pitch.
And just another example of an open-ended question you could ask is, how do you like working for this company? You know, tell me about what your experience is like. How long have you been in this company? All of that information can be very valuable for you to see if this is the right fit for you.
Yes, any of the questions we talked about in informational interviewing would be completely applicable for this setting as well. And then, yeah.
That's pretty much it for the networking presentation today, but we're happy to take any questions that you might have, anything that you were wondering about. For you, have you had a chance to network before?
Yeah, I've had a few different instances in a variety of places, ranging from like concerts and stuff like that.
Nice, awesome. And what do you think has worked the best for you?
Um, think one of the points y'all had brought up was a meaningful conversation, and that typically is always help. It helps me gauge the type of person that I'm talking to and stuff like that, because when I come to networking in those spaces, it's mostly about how I feel and if I feel like it's worth pursuing a relationship.
Love
So,
that.
yeah, we do it like that, and that tends to work out, develop some healthy relationships over the past year through that.
Awesome. Well, thanks. Well, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I'm gonna say, in that vein, I've had students ask me like, how do you network but with faculty? Because they feel like it's a
Oh.
little bit different than networking like in the professional world. Give me
Yeah.
tips.
Yeah, that's a really great question. So definitely with faculty, think about them as a mentor. They have office hours usually, which is a great time if they have them listed to just drop in and ask questions about, their journey, what content you're interested in, and also to share your goals with them, just to kind of build a relationship with them. And over time, you can kind of keep updating them with kind of what you're up to. And so over time, they'll really understand, how they can best support. And you'd be surprised, they have a lot of connections too in their field. They know a lot about job opportunities as well. So I would say definitely reach out to faculty early on and just kind of start building that relationship over time. And even if they don't have office hours, reach out via email, set up some time to chat. Like that's, faculty are here to support students. That's really their mission. So I would say they're probably the easiest people to network and practice with. Yeah. Mhm. Do you have any tips for faculty?
Same thing, so pretty much everything we just said, and then, yeah, making sure that you're aware of their office hours, and they're gonna be on a little bit of a time crunch sometimes, because ultimately their priority is gonna be their students and their coursework that they're grading. So just be patient, it's gonna take time, but it's okay to follow up if it's been like over a week. Go ahead and send a follow-up, they just didn't see your email.
Totally.
Sure.
Yeah.